team is fired up. We came here to play.
All right.
He'll lose.
What? Didn't you hear what he said?
Look at the fear in his eyes. Listen to the quiver in his voice. He's a little boy lost in a game of men.
So, who do you like in the afternoon games?
Well, I like the 49ers because they're pure of heart.
See, Maggie, those silver and blue guys are the Dallas Cowboys. They're Daddy's favorite team. And he wants them to lose by less than 5.5 points. Understand?
Oh, Kogan's got Wolodarski open way downfield, and it's complete. Ooh, what a hit.
Oh, yeah, he's out cold, Gil.
Oh, yes, sir.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the One Star Cowboys podcast. We are fresh off the bye week and ready to go. The 3-3 Dallas Cowboys in San Francisco Sunday night against the 3-4 San Francisco 49ers. The biggest game in Dallas Cowboys football history this Sunday night. I'm Kevin Turner. We have John Machota, Inside Yusuf here from The Athletic. Kit Garrison also from The Athletic as well, and the Mad About Movies podcast.
What's up?
But really, it's been an eventful bye week, more eventful than usual. I will say this about Cowboys seasons past, and John, tell me if you agree. 3 straight 12-win seasons has actually made bye week be more about just getting healthy and not a lot of crazy noise. And this bye week was not that. It was loud. So what was your evaluation of your supposed to be time off?
I think number one, just obviously just trying to kind of piece together how they've been able to win 12 games when they've had all these tours. No, I would say probably for me, it would be the... I really thought Jerry would apologize on the radio, and he really did not apologize at all. And so I'm still kind of in a... it sucks that this Sunday is a road game because Jerry hasn't been talking after road games, and this has gone on for a while. And I think if it was a home game, I'd really be interested in seeing what he has to say after the game, because the way he talked to 105.3 The Fan 2 weeks ago and then to go on the radio earlier this week, I thought for sure there would be some type of apology at the beginning of the show, and there really wasn't. And I think the frustration is certainly still there. So that's number one for me. Number two is just the fact of, Mike McCarthy obviously had to meet with reporters at the beginning of this week, and right off the top, it was going to be like, well, what did you guys do during the bye week, And for him to say that, they took this hard look and evaluated everything and just thinks that the effort's there, but that they need to be better as a team. And so he was going to be dialing back individual drills and having more team drills in practice. And so I'm interested to see if there is a payoff from that. But yeah, those are probably my top two. But I did get a little bit of a break. I went back to Detroit, my hometown, for a few days. And I don't think I missed anything major outside of that. I kept up with it as I was gone. But I will say up in those parts, that a hot topic up there was Chris Christie taking shots at Dan Campbell for running up the score. I mean, that was a big time radio topic up there. They were really focused on the thoughts of Chris Christie, where I don't know that I think Cowboys fans are kind of just used to having him around and being at the booth sometimes. I don't think that his word carries as much weight. And so it was interesting to hear that up there. But yeah, that's pretty much where I stand. Go ahead, Sod. I'm done rambling.
No, it was definitely a very entertaining bye week, and it started that Tuesday morning, I think it was, right, with Jerry's stuff. And so I just remember, I had a flight out that afternoon. We had assistant coaches. You just kind of wake up, and it was a reminder of why, I legitimately, I'm not being no sarcasm here, but why I love this job so much. Like for people that, everyone's wired differently. Maybe for some people you waking up, having that structure and all right, 9 to 5, you're going to do this. But I freaking love, I wake up every Tuesday morning at 8:30 to listen to that interview, and you just never know what's going to happen. So it was definitely a lot of fun. And, on the outside, just reporting, and I'm sure it was chaos a little bit for a lot of those folks that were on the other end of it at the Fan. But for us, it was quite entertaining.
Yeah, and we did if anyone missed it, you're listening to this episode. We did a full episode on this last week. On the controversy with the morning show on the Fan, Sean and RJ and Bobby Belt, and so if you want to catch up on that, if you happen to miss it, you can check that out on Apple and on Spotify. But also, I think maybe this just the Cowboys have more luminaries. I don't know. Maybe they don't have more luminaries doing media, but the Troy Aikman comments. And then McCarthy's got to answer that. And then Jerry's involved in that because Jerry does 2 radio shows a week, and then it's like Micah has a podcast and he's commenting on it. And then we're here today where McCarthy
and your starting quarterback got engaged.
Yeah, starting quarterback got engaged. Yeah.
Congratulations.
So there's that. But then you got McCarthy having to answer Jerry's comment that they might have some bad plays and some bad concepts. And you just have this whirlwind of noise. And it feels a little unique this year as opposed to the usual noise that comes with covering the Dallas Cowboys. It feels even more, which, John, to your credit, and Son, you might have done this too, like in the offseason, leading up to the season, there are a lot of prognostications that were, if things do get bad, it could get crazy around here.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, if you don't win that game against Pittsburgh, things are really bad. So 3-3, you're able to save it and say you're 500 and then get some time off. I'm so fascinated with Sunday night. So y'all go ahead if y'all want to expound on it.
I was just going to say that I don't see this being the end of it. If it keeps going in a bad direction, if they keep losing games, this noise is only going to get worse because there will be more people nationally and former players and whatever being critical, and that will lead to Jerry Jones commenting about it, which will lead to people asking Mike McCarthy about what Jerry Jones said, and so that's something that I've come to, I don't know, I guess get used to covering the Cowboys, but this year could have more of it than previous ones, at least since I've covered the team, because I got here right at the end of 2010. And so I would say out of the last 15 years, this season would have the closest, kind of connection to that one, just because that one obviously led to a coaching change going from Wade to Jason Garrett. Things didn't go well. I don't see this one being one where they change coaches mid-season. I think Mike McCarthy gets this entire season to prove that he can win, get them back in the playoffs and win some playoff games. And then Jerry evaluates it in January or February. But I don't think that this just stops. And this is just, we'll always remember that bye week. It was crazy during the bye week. Like, I just think that the heat just kind of gets turned up if it keeps heading down in this direction, because really the only bad seasons I remember in the last 15 years outside of 2010 are 15 and 20. And that's because 15, you lost Romo to injury. And then 20, you lost Dak. And so to have most of these guys with you, you would think that this team, even as bad as it's looked at times, you think that it will still be enough that where they'll be in the playoff hunt going into December. And so there'll still be meaningful games to be played.
Can we talk about one of these things? I am very interested in the offense because, clearly other teams are making moves. Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper. We saw DeAndre Hopkins go today. I don't know that DeAndre Hopkins would have been a good fit here. But for Troy to say what he said, and Troy has a history of defending Mike McCarthy. Like, Troy has said many times on national TV broadcasts that he loves Mike McCarthy and respects him. I don't even know that Troy was trying to call out, I think he was calling out the receivers.
100%.
And then McCarthy had to kind of defend that. And I got the vote of that's a bit of McCarthy's DNA. I'm going to get the players back.
Yeah, 100%.
But it almost had this whole thing where now McCarthy's got to go at Troy. And then Jerry's doing an interview saying, well, Troy knows ball, so don't question Troy. And it's just such a wild triangle.
Yeah, but KT, I would also say that I don't know that. I think McCarthy did a really good job at the podium of defending his guys, but he also didn't really refute Troy. He just said he didn't like the words that were used. He just said he didn't like the vocabulary that Troy used, which was very strong vocabulary, but he didn't exactly, just hammer Troy and be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, whatever. So I thought McCarthy actually played that one really well because he had his receivers back, but he also kind of played nice with the Hall of Fame Cowboys quarterback as well.
Yeah, and I'll never know 1/100th of the football that Troy does. So who am I to say? But I am a little bit of on the side of I think he might have gone stronger, as in and maybe just because it's Troy. I tweeted out the quote. I knew that it would get some traction. I didn't think that it would get as much as it did. But then when you listen it over again, like Troy's pretty passionate about it, and so I think some take it as just like it. He's watching some of the worst routes that have ever been run, and I don't think it's that bad because he also mentions that and I thought that the year before, CD, was arguably the best receiver in football, and he obviously included CD in this. It wasn't like he said outside of CD, they're running lazy routes. I mean, he included CD in it, and so it was productive last year, and he didn't love the routes last year. So I think that that's part of the reason why. It's interesting that he points it out. I can't say that from my observation that it would have been my top thing that I'd be pointing out. The lack of some effort on some tackling by some defensive backs on some run plays, that to me stands out more. That would be a bigger one. But it is interesting when he says that because the Cowboys don't have a lot of separation from the receivers. And so you're able to connect some dots and things like that. But I don't think that I don't think that when Mike McCarthy says he didn't like the words or he didn't agree with the words that Troy said, I think that to me it was like Mike saying, yeah, there's some issues there. I probably wouldn't have went as strong as Mike's not going to say lazy routes, or however that Troy said it specifically. But he also wanted to be clear that there's other issues on the team too. I don't remember how Mike said it specifically, but he was like, he did say that but there's a lot of issues or whatever. And I think that there probably are a lot of the things that Troy sees with wide receivers. There's probably a little bit of that with a bunch of different groups on the team.
Yeah, and I also think Troy usually comes at these things with, I've listened to pretty much every ticket interview he's done in quite a while, but he usually comes at this in one of two ways, as the Hall of Fame quarterback and then also as the announcer. And I think he's kind of talking more as the quarterback there because he's kind of looking at what the heat that Dak is and getting, and Troy is one of Dak's biggest defenders. And so I think when he's kind of looking at that, he's like, well, all these next-gen stats pointing to the tight windows that Dak's throwing it in. And I think he's kind of looking at it more from that perspective when he's talking about that more than the complete overall picture analyst that Troy is. So I think he always has two hats on. And I think that was just his quarterback hat, in play at that point.
And with McCarthy in this West Coast system, it is so timing-based. It's so connected to the quarterback's feet. And so it's not as much as let's say when you see some of the Shanahan offenses where they're just scheming a guy wide open, it's more about reading the progressions and the progressions matching up with your footwork. And so kind of if one receiver's off, it can kind of set the whole thing off. And I think maybe in that West Coast offense, that can be a bigger issue to leading to bigger problems than maybe it does in some of these other offenses that, a lot of when you say the next gen stats and that probably favor a little bit more. I think that Mike believes that it's going to get better as the season goes on, but of course fans do not want to hear that at this point.
Let's wrap a bow on the the Jerry thing with from Tuesday one more time. I'll swing it over to Kent.
Hey boys, hope you had a great bye week. John, I saw Eminem live in concert. Thought of you, the Detroit native in my life the entire time. What stuck out to me was Jerry's comment on Derrick Henry in the fact that he said he wouldn't have had success here. Jerry is one to defend his locker room till the end of himself, constantly, probably when he shouldn't. I just didn't think that really instilled a ton of confidence in this locker room.
Well, I also don't think Jerry's really defending his locker room with that comment. I think he's defending himself for why he didn't go after Derrick Henry more than anything. I think when for Jerry's comments about that, like, fine, Derrick Henry's not leading the league in rushing and not popping off these. Derrick Henry is 150% better than whatever they have right now in that locker room at running back. But I think, all the excuses, I mean, a while back, I remember it was after the Ravens game, after Derrick Henry ran over the Cowboys, and the comment was, that he couldn't afford them. And so it was the salary cap's fault that Derrick Henry was not a Cowboy. And then a couple weeks later, once that has gone a little stale, now it's the coaching staff and the scheme's fault. It's everybody's fault but Jerry's fault that Derrick Henry is not a Dallas Cowboy. And I think that's kind of where he's getting at, where, they couldn't afford him. The scheme wasn't right to get the best out of him. Like, it's everything other than the fact that Jerry didn't go out and sign Derrick Henry.
Right. And then there's another part to it too. And it's that, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, I'm going to take Jerry's job for this particular example and say that I would have called Derrick Henry. I would have at least kicked the tires, see where he was at. But I also didn't think a 30-year-old Derrick Henry would be doing what he's doing right now. Sure. And so there could be a big part of the evaluation process of where they were like, yeah, we really weren't that interested in Derrick Henry. He's a 30-year-old running back where the league trends have been showing. That's probably not a spot you want to invest $8 million a year. So we probably weren't going to ever be interested in there. It's tough to say that right now if you're a general manager, a talent evaluator, or scout, because he's having this monster year. But I think we can all agree that over the last 15, 20 years, you've kind of, this is outlier stuff. It's pretty much, to me, Derrick Henry and Adrian Peterson. Like, how many other guys are doing that type of thing for also physical running style guys? I'm not talking about like a Barry Sanders or something, but a physical running style where like a lot of their runs are coming off of, there's going to be a lot of contact and they're taking a lot of hits. Derrick Henry is doing some outlier stuff. So I see that part of it too, but I just keep going back to, man, this dude sounded really interested in wanting to play for you guys. Like, if you at least call, who knows what you might have been able to get him for? Who knows what kind of discount? That not calling him, not reaching out to him, not even talking to him, that's been always the thing with me.
And also with Jerry, his comments about the scheme, like, I'm not dismissing that either. Like it would be foolish to think that, the half second extra that Derrick Henry gets to hit every hole because Lamar Jackson is standing next to him, like that definitely helps. And so I'm not completely dismissing that either, but Derrick Henry would still be obviously an upgrade over anything else.
Absolutely an upgrade, but I can also make the case Derrick Henry's on this roster, they sign him. Can you definitively tell me, off the Cowboys team you've watched this year, they wouldn't be still 3-3? Because how fast they got behind in all those home games. Like, I don't even know how much of an impact Derrick Henry makes on those games. And maybe they're 4-2. Maybe one of those games, maybe 4-2. But I don't think that...
he doesn't run all over them in the Ravens game, for sure. Right?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah, take that away.
Nice work, Kent. Yeah, so there's that. So, okay, so maybe 4-2, but I think you can make the argument that they still might be 3-3 just because of those home games have been so bad.
Or 2-4 because they signed him and they forced it to him even more than they should and still couldn't get the run game going. It's the Derrick Henry thing, though. Jerry gets asked that every day because of all those reasons, not reaching out. I have to include two things. Fans do not want to hear that we don't have enough money.
For sure.
They just don't want to hear that when Trey Lance has a higher cap number on this year's team than Derrick Henry does. And next year, Derrick Henry's a good, solid $11 million on the Baltimore cap. They may, not want to be a part of that. We'll see how the season goes. The other thing is there is a good portion of Cowboys fans who did not have any interest in Zeke coming back. And I think there's a portion that are like, great, and nostalgia, and he can still have a role and all that. But there's a healthy portion that were like, what are we doing? Why would we do that? And it kind of still felt like doing nothing.
I mean, aside from the Henry thing, that definitely stood out, but it was Jerry being like, just like, this locker room? Oh, not this locker room. Like, I'd never heard him. He's always wanted to kind of to build his guys up and make them think that they are Super Bowl champions. And he was just kind of, I don't know. I mean, he's in this locker room, I mean, I don't think it makes a difference, you know?
But he likes the talent. That's the
Yeah. But no moves at the deadline. Yeah.
I just think, and I get it. The Cowboys are not going to make are probably not going to make any type of move that's going to alter things. People can clamor for, some of these names that have gone. The new one is Cooper Kupp, or whatever next big wide receiver that might get on the market. Although Cooper Kupp, his injuries scare me off, but if the Rams are willing to eat as much as that's been thrown around, the Rams are going to eat up a lot of that. I'm in, because I still think right now San Francisco's down and they're panicking, and we will talk about San Francisco here in a second. But what if something to Detroit happens like what just happened in Tampa Bay? Like, all it takes is that, and it's kind of on. And if your offense can somehow start scoring,
why would you even put that out there?
And you can get ahead. What do you mean? Well, no, I'm saying. No, I know.
I mean, has Detroit not suffered enough?
No, they have. I know.
I mean, what are we doing here? Sorry, we can't just bookend Brett Favre with Aaron Rodgers over there. It's so tough at times. Jerk.
And then Jordan Love.
It's actually been pretty good. Although he's more Brett than Aaron so far.
Yeah, well, cool. Deal with some seasons of Dan Orlovsky running around for about 15 minutes out of the back of the end zone with the ball, thinking he's still about to make a play, and then we'll talk.
Turned it into a TV job. You get to see your old quarterback every day. But it's the same argument that we've been talking about, like the NFC is wide open, but it truly is. Yeah. And if the Cowboys ever get up 14-0 on someone like the old days, then like maybe you do start running the ball better. And we haven't seen that yet. And I don't think we're going to see it until they get help on offense, because it's very clear. All I have to do is make sure that CeeDee Lamb doesn't get the ball, and then we're good. And that's nothing that helps Derrick Henry is their quarterback moves. I love Dak. Dak can't move anymore, or he doesn't move anymore. And that's a problem. And the way to make it look like you're closer to making progress and winning a bunch of games is by applying the singular formula that we all know works. Be up, then maybe the run game can come alive. And I don't know that they got the horses to get up by 14 on someone. That's the problem. To me.
No, I agree with you. I don't see it that they do, and I also don't see Jerry making a move. I would be surprised if they made a move. Certainly, I mean, really for anybody, much less like a Cooper Kupp type. He seems like he's completely dug in on like, no, we're gonna let this season play out with what's out there, and if Mike can turn this thing into a postseason winner, then I'll give him a new contract. If not, we'll be looking for a new coach, and so with that new coach. Then we'll reevaluate the roster with that guy. But nope, this is the roster we're going to roll with, and it's tough to look at that and go, oh yeah, well they're going to get hot, and they're going to be finally the team that gets hot in January and makes a deep playoff run.
I threw it over to some, and I hardly ever do this, but it was just convenient for me today. I threw it over to some San Francisco sports radio. I don't ever do this for the opposing team, but I thought it was interesting because the 49ers fans, boy, the topics that were coming up were wild to me. A, has Kyle Shanahan lost it? B, I mean, look, this Ricky Pearsall guy, he was a first-round pick. And I was like, he got shot. He just got back. Like, there's panic over there at 3 and 4. And I tend to think they'll be fine once they start getting people back. But to hear that panic from them at 3 and 4 made me go, okay. Because I was sitting there going, I don't care what the Vegas line is on this game. I'm going to be picking the 49ers to cover whatever it is. But hold on. I can see this thing getting out of hand on Sunday night.
Put yourself, though, in their shoes for a second, though, and just pretend that you're a 49ers fan and you've watched them for the last 4 or 5 years. I think you'd be a little nervous too, and it really isn't about this year. It's about the fact of, we got these injuries and stuff like that, but we've been able to make some moves to go and get a Christian McCaffrey, to go and get a Trent Williams. When we give that quarterback his $55 million or whatever it's going to be, and this is what we got right now, is what we're going to be having on Sundays. We're not going to be able to be making those moves to fill in gaps. So I think that if you are a 49ers fan, there's a part of you that can be thinking, yeah, this might be what we got to work with here. because I don't know if you can, after you pay Brock Purdy, I don't know how many you need Ricky Pearsall to hit for sure. You need Ayuk to come back from the knee better than Michael Gallup came back from the knee.
Mm-hmm.
And your running back's got some serious injury issues as well. And as far as I'm concerned, like, he's the engine that makes it all go. Like, I don't see a San Francisco hoisting the trophy without Christian McCaffrey being a big part of it. And so I do think that they're going to be good on defense. Fred Warner is as good as there is. Nick Bosa is outstanding. I do think that they'll continue to find pieces. They found pieces in this draft and that. But I wonder on the offensive side if 49ers fans are a little nervous about we're doing this right now, and I don't know how much the roster is going to get better because we still have to pay our quarterback. And do you think your quarterback has a lot of room to grow to then being the guy that then now is carrying you? If you think that, then you have no reason to be nervous. But if you think that he's a product of having great parts around him, there's a little reason to be nervous.
Yeah, and also when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, it even predates San Francisco. I whether it's fair or not, he's not going to wear down 28-3. That's part of it. Then you lost the lead in the Super Bowl, and that's part of it. And there's been big games where the 49ers have lost leads. And to me, it's funny because we all talk about the Shanahan tree and how glorious it is and all that stuff. But I think when you're like constantly coming up short, the bar changes. The bar for Cowboys fans is let's just get to an NFC title game. But for 49ers fans, it truly is Super Bowl or bust. They've seen all the other stuff. They've seen the NFC title game. They've seen the Super Bowl. Nothing but a Super Bowl win really does it for them. So I kind of see that part of it too, where that can be a little frustrating, even though everybody on the outside is talking about how great the Shanahan stuff is. But I do think the injuries play a big role on all that too, and where they are. But it'll be really interesting to see how the 49ers do respond when they do get guys back and everything like that. But the bar is definitely different in San Francisco than what it is in Dallas.
Hey, real quick, just because I saw this over the weekend and you brought it up, though. Man, have you seen those stories about that staff from Atlanta?
Oh, my God.
Isn't that crazy?
From Washington, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying it just because you look at the team that blew the Super Bowl lead or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You got Dan Quinn is now the head coach. Obviously, he was the head coach then, but he's in Washington. Kyle Shanahan's the OC. Raheem Morris was on that staff. Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, Jeff Ulbrich, the
Jets head coach.
Yeah, the Jets head coach.
Wow.
I don't know. There's a chance that you look back on that and you're just like, maybe that's the most impressive.
There was a
win
Washington
for that
staff.
Patriots. Oh no, the Washington staff's great too. But I'm just saying, you look back on that and you're just like, damn, how much that Falcons team's hated on for choking that away. That might be actually the crown jewel to Brady and Belichick that they were able to come back because it was obviously a talented team. Matt Ryan won the Super Bowl. Won the MVP. And they had that big lead. They have this great coaching staff that all these guys go on to be head coaches. And so, I don't know. I just don't want to take anything from the Falcons there on that because I do still think that, man, I don't see how you can't have Kyle Shanahan in the top, even the most critical person. I don't know how you'd have him outside the top 5 best coaches in the NFL or the top 5 if you had to make a list for your team and there's all the coaches that are available. I don't understand how he wouldn't get drafted in the top 5.
I think he still wears some of that to that Atlanta game with him in San Francisco now for as close as they've been and been unable to get over the hump because the tone that they were kind of, using today and what I was listening to, and it was only about 15 minutes, but the tone was like they were throwing out reasons why they should go try to trade for Cooper Kupp. Like they were like, we can move the money later, and all that stuff, draft picks. If they just want a second rounder and the Rams are going to eat a lot of it, then that, or if it's a conditional, 3 for a 2, well, you'll do that and you're happy to give a 2 because that means what they got was good. And I thought that was just an interesting contrast to here. We're kind of going 3-3 and the 49ers are here. And, it'd be nice that the offense finally woke up, but we all know the coach is probably getting fired at the end of the year or let go. And the defensive coordinator might just be let go. And it's just like way different tones. And it should be because the 49ers have had that success and have escalated further than the Cowboys have. But I don't know that I've heard, because at 3 and 4, the 49ers are looking at that roster, if they're going to get Debo back, if they're going to get George Kittle back, if they're going to get even Juwan Jennings back and McCaffrey back, they've got a bye week after the Cowboys week. I still feel fine that the 49ers will be in the mix in the end. And maybe that's just, hey, week to week, we talk about these things. And if your team loses, we're a little down on them. Right. But
yeah.
But I don't know. It was just wild. They were talking about Kyle Shanahan, like, maybe the league has passed him by. And I'm like, you want to see a league that's passed him by? Watch Cowboys offense right now.
Real quick, KT, on that, I would say that's probably a lot of San Francisco fans will probably have a lot of Warriors fans as well. And, Golden State Warriors. And maybe they like that's a fan base that's seen Mark Jackson take them to a certain point. And then it's like, you're in the playoffs and you're good and all that. And then it's like, all right, but we got to move on from this guy. And Steve Kerr comes in and is dynasty right away. So
I just think you'd be foolish if you thought that. I think you'd be a fool. Nobody was ever in the NBA circles going, man, we just got to build these offenses like Mark Jackson's been running them. Like the ripples throughout the rest of the NFL of the Shanahan tree and all that is crazy. Mark Jackson was never looked anywhere close to that. Also, never gotten close to the finals.
Right. And I get that, but it goes back to your point, John, about there's 3 fans in Arrowhead every game that are thinking that.
That one hits home harder with me. I'm a little protective of the Mark Jackson thing. I don't think it was as close with Mark as some people make it seem. So I'm a little bit, that one struck a nerve with me, but I would compare it more to, certainly, because I'll always go with the Mahomes one, because I just think he's just on a different level, and people that complain about him would be the biggest fools. But I think about it as the way I think about Packers with LaFleur. I've never got this feel from KT, but I could see that there might be some Packers fans who are like, how come he hasn't won a Super Bowl? Like, he's supposed to be blah, blah, blah. We've had these number 1 teams, and we've fallen short, and we've had home playoff games in the NFC Championship game. And I don't know that they have a passionate fan base on that level, but the Rams, the difference is that Sean McVay got it done in the Super Bowl. But if Sean McVay loses that Super Bowl to the Bengals, people are talking that way about Sean McVay, and I still think Sean McVay is one of the top 2 or 3 coaches in the league. But because he got the Super Bowl, it's so easy to make that claim. But there are people that don't think Sean McVay is as great of a coach as like other people. It's that Super Bowl is what is the only thing that's standing in the way. And Shanahan they went to overtime. I mean, that was a coin flip on who was going to win that game. It was such a good game back and forth in this past Super Bowl. And if I was a Niners fan, yeah, there'd be part of me that'd be a little nervous that what if that was the closest they get,
Yeah, I know. I remember it's interesting. Sometimes the quarterbacks wear it, and sometimes like the coaches wear it.
Yeah,
and I guess maybe sometimes it's both. There a lot of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Maybe there was the one game against Tampa Bay where he, on 4th and goal, kicked a field goal, tried to get a stop rather than letting Aaron Rodgers have a chance on 4th and goal. But whatever. That, yeah. That doesn't even matter really. I thought it was interesting. Nick Bosa made a comment in some of his media. He was talking about, hey, we got the bye week next week. We need to get a win to get to 500 before the bye week. Dallas is going to be fresh coming off a bye week. And he said, I think they're going to try to run the ball more than they have. And I was like, okay. So they're game planning for that.
Yeah.
I don't know that I want the Cowboys running the ball more. And I think it would help you if you had an effective running game, but I don't have any faith in that happening right now. So
I do believe that will be the game plan going in, though. I do believe that they are going to try and run as much as they possibly can.
It's just been such a waste lately.
If they went back during the bye week, like they said they did, all the coaches, what's the best game? What's the one that they're going to point to? And it's going to be Pittsburgh. And that was the most success they had. And that was the most success they had running the football. And so they're going to try it. And like you said, it probably is not going to have great results. But I imagine the way they open this game, I mean, don't you think San Francisco is going to do the same thing? They're going to try and run on the Cowboys, especially with
every
Ayuk
team
being out. Well, yeah, yes, that's true. That's
every
true.
Team.
But even without a McCaffrey, like I think that's going to be, we're going to go downhill on them, build off the play action, And I think I think that the Cowboys are hoping to do the same thing. That, hey, we're fresh, we're coming off our bye week. They're a little banged up. They're coming off a tough loss. Like, I don't know that it's going to work, but maybe Dalvin Cook puts a cape on and comes out there. And
Oh, have you heard anything?
I have not. Sorry.
I did see. I'm sure you guys saw the clip going around of Zeke's dad doing some podcasts. You guys catch that?
Yeah. I caught
$10,000 for whoever can do the video work together and prove to him. His argument.
You're up.
I was sitting there going,
I'll do the video work, Saj. Let's see what kind of running back skills you got left.
I was like, how do we even know though? Like he hasn't even had like a full 10 yards, run straight for 10 yards as fast as you can. Like that hasn't been possible yet. So
dude, I think his best run has been him falling backwards ahead. Like
in Cleveland game.
Yeah, it's been bad.
I mean, you guys follow college and some high school around here and that. Who right now is the best running back in the state of Texas?
In college.
In anything.
It's Genty.
EJ Smith.
But he's at Boise right now.
Oh, okay.
You got to either be playing college, high school, or pro football in the state of Texas right now.
Taj Boyd, Texas Tech.
Yeah. I think
and I mean fair. That. He's great.
Maybe Joe Mixon? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, NFL?
Well, yeah, it counts
everybody. State of Texas, yeah.
Yeah, everybody NFL too, yeah.
Dang, Joe Mixon snuck in there. I think it's Rico Dowdle. And you should give him the opportunity he deserves.
I'm just how
about your guy Cam Akers down in Houston?
What's the deal with this Brandon Aubrey thing, John? This jury duty.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's going to be something that would prevent him from playing in the game, but he wanted to do his civic duty, and so he's participating. I don't know how the whole process works. I'm just kind of surprised that they would keep a Dallas Cowboys player. I know media-wise that they generally don't keep reporters. The times I've been up for it, I've never gotten picked. It's been they've gotten the case resolved like the day before or whatever, so I haven't had to serve. But it sounds like this isn't like it doesn't sound like this is going to be like the OJ case that he's on. Like he's going to have to be doing this for a year or something. I don't remember.
He's too nice. He's too nice. He went in there buttoned up. He was wearing Dockers, the woven brown belt. He went in there looking real nice, and he should have worn like a crazy T-shirt. That's what I always do when I get called into jury duty. I always make sure that I wear some type of graphic T-shirt with something slightly offensive on it. Nothing crazy. Just so they'll know, okay, we're going to weed this guy out. He's a bit of a wild card.
His shirt says, let the bodies hit the floor, sir, please. Hey, how long? Real quick. How long do you think the OJ trial lasted? Don't look.
Well,
you can't look.
It felt like 6 years, but I would say it was 95 is when it started.
I think it was like 9 months, something like that.
6 months.
I'll say 6 months. I was going to say 6 months too, so.
I'll do 7.
300 days, something like
that. Jury swearing in, if you go off of that start, 11 months.
Okay.
Jury swearing in on November 9th, 1994. Verdict announced October 3rd, 1995. So anyway, he's not on something like that. It sounds like it's something that will be resolved by Friday. So, but yeah, like the team does not anticipate him missing the flight out to San Francisco on Saturday. No. They expect him to be on the flight. Like it's not going to do that, but maybe it impacts his kicking time.
Yeah, but also I heard something from the team that even if the case was to linger, it's not a sequestered thing. So it's not like he'd be out for the weekend regardless, even if the case went longer. So he'd be fine for San Francisco.
Yeah, he'd be fine, but they don't want him to leave. So it'd be
our
fine
judge,
if it's a home game. He can't get on a plane and leave the state. No, I'm kidding.
Our judge is a former UNT football great. So
go Mean Green.
Just saying, go Mean Green. He ain't going to let anything happen to the MVP of the Dallas Cowboys. He is not going to let that happen.
Okay.
So we're good.
I heard it's a strangulation case.
It is. It's a felony third-degree strangulation case.
That's not why I brought it up. Sad. Take it from here.
Yeah, you brought it for The Office.
Strangler, huh?
The first thing that came to my head when I saw that was just Michael being deposed and riding in a car with Jan, and he just has all these little things to remember things by. S for Snickers, this, that, and then
Oh, yeah, yeah.
remembering words.
I forgot about that. Yes.
I'm just like, what if Brandon Aubrey's doing
The
that?
best
Yeah.
part in that episode is when he does the "that's what she said" during the deposition, and
Yeah.
they have the like
You didn't read it the
stenographer
right way.
like read it
No,
back
he
to him.
he butchered the delivery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's just trying to read back a "that's what she said" joke, and it makes no sense.
Hopefully things are going better for Brandon.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Right, we're good. Oh, real quick, Tyler.
Have any of
back?
you guys had to be on one? By the way?
No, my
No,
brother
I've
has.
never- yeah, no, I've never.
My brother
I'm
had
not.
a
No.
rough one. Yeah,
What
out of it.
would you have any interest if you were picked,
I don't.
or
like
would
to
you
miss
be
work.
upset?
I would not want. I don't like to have my time wasted, and I don't want to. I would want to miss work. So
It's only max trial. Max is 1 week. It's not an OJ case. Or would you want to do it if it is an OJ one? Because then you get to write a book off of it, and then you have all that content to provide on your
Okay.
I
shows.
would only want to do it if it was an interesting case. If it was some
Yeah.
financial fraud
Garth
or something
Brooks
like
case?
that, I couldn't do it. I'd be falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, like it'd be like number one, I'd want it to be in the off season, and then number two, something interesting because it's kind of just to go back to The Office. That was like, remember Stanley said that was his dream to get like lunch paid for a
Right.
week or whatever. Because remember Jim lied about going to jury duty or being
Yeah.
stuck in that
Yeah.
as well.
An air
So-
conditioned room downtown,
Yeah.
judging
Yeah.
people.
You lucky son of a bitch. But yeah, so I think if it was interesting and if it was the off season, I think I would actually be interested in that.
when my brother had it, it was small town. I think this was in Graham, Texas. So it's small town, but there's a couple things that he was telling me about. One, a lot of downtime. Two, kind of the all day affair, but you're not really doing something all day long just because the way the court process works. And also the other people on the jury. And I don't have any
Yeah.
interest in making 11 new friendships. I don't
Yeah.
have any interest. People with differing opinions, I would imagine. And
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm not trying to beat that many people, but the case he was on was devastating. I felt terrible. He had to be a part of it. It was rough.
Yeah.
And this sounds bad too, but hopefully it's over. Can I do a quick Tyler Guyton question? Are we thinking back at left tackle? What are we thinking here?
Yeah.
Man, they're back at left tackle starting, we think.
Yeah, I asked Mike McCarthy about him today and said that, knee's doing better, and that is the plan for this game, is to have him back at left tackle. I think they look at it as, you have the bye week to evaluate this, and I think they wanted to come out of this bye with what's our best five that, even though if it's not absolutely the best five today, gives us the best chance as we go along to reach our top potential. And even if you don't think that Tyler Guyton is going to be this all pro or have this great second half of the season, whatever, I wonder how much they factor in the whole taking Tyler Smith away from left guard. And when I say that, that's because you're now taking your left guard that you trust immensely, all pro level left guard, away from your rookie, being in between a rookie center and a rookie left tackle. Now all of a sudden you're moving him to the outside, and now you have TJ Bass next to your rookie center, who probably needs a little extra help. This is his first time playing center, certainly anywhere near this level. He didn't do it in college. So I think having Tyler Smith back at left guard is the reason why they were like, ultimately, this is our best plan. We're going to have to take the lumps with Tyler. There's going to be some holding calls, things like that. But I believe that they think that that's the best group. So I fully anticipate Tyler Guyton being back, starting left tackle Sunday night against the Niners.
Yeah, and also I think their view on last week, 2 weeks ago, a lot of us kind of viewed it as, because Tyler Guyton was active, that it was kind of like a said unsaid benching and kind of like, but I think they viewed it as really like a health thing of like, he wasn't fully healthy. And so they didn't want to rush him out there, give him the bye week and all that stuff. So I think they kind of viewed it that way as well.
That, and also I think they were hoping for a continuation, because remember, Guyton got dinged in the Pittsburgh game, And when Bass came in, they ran the ball well in the second half. So I bet that was a big part of it too, is like, let's see if we can have some carryover here where this might not be our best 5, but if this is our best 5 to run the football, because like I wrote about last week, like that if you could fix one thing on this Cowboys team for as many things that are wrong, it's you fix the run game. Because the trickle down that has to the passing game, the trickle down that it would even have to your defense if you're putting together these long drives and having success over there, if you can fix one thing and have success in one area that you aren't right now, it has to be the run game.
I'm not saying it would have mattered. Oh, go ahead, Todd.
Real quick, I was going to say on the offensive line with as much as I'm curious to see what Tyler Guyton looks like, I think for the first time in my life watching the Cowboys, I'm actually curious to see what Zach Martin looks like this week, because I'm not somebody that thinks like he's done or washed, but that was the worst game that I've seen him play against the Detroit Lions there. And I'm really curious to see against a quality defensive front, like how he rebounds, which I fully expect him to, but just how bad that tape was from the Detroit game. I'm really interested to see what Zach Martin looks like.
To John's point real quick on the Pittsburgh game and running the ball in second, we could have maybe seen that, but they gave the ball to the other running back. Like, maybe a part of the reason you ran the ball well in that Pittsburgh game was you were giving it to the more explosive running back. Maybe. I don't know. We don't have world beater numbers, to prove that. But for what happened there in that Detroit game, and I get it, you fell behind and all that stuff, but you didn't fall behind that fast. It's, to me, inexcusable. But here we are.
The bye weeks behind them, they've learned from their mistakes, KT.
That's a good thing to say. I will say that the Pittsburgh game, I did think, because that was coming off the Thursday night game against the Giants, I did think a little longer week. I thought the offense in that game did have a few extra things in it. Nothing crazy, reinventing the wheel. But I did think there was a little bit more to it. I do think it's important that this offense has a couple. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 trick plays. I don't care if it's more motion, whatever. I do think having another week, it's imperative that your play caller has a couple things in the bag ready to go. And you can break them out early.
Man, what have you really seen though? Like even the ones that don't work, like have you seen anything that looks anywhere close to the touchdown pass that the Lions had to Sam Laporta, like where you have multiple guys pitching it and then throwing it back to the quarterback, like anything like that? Like that is just not really a Cowboys thing to do. It would kind of surprise me. But to your point, you have a whole bye week. If you're going to try and work something like that, that's the time you would work on it. And I certainly think that they desperately need this game. And so that would make some sense for them to do that, Because I also think this, to get a win against that Niners team, even though we all know that they're not close to being the full-strength Niners team that they have played in previous playoffs, I do think that a win there could help boost some confidence, just because the Niners have been such a thorn in their side and been the boogeyman that you're just like, well, we can't beat them. They're the ones standing in the way. I do think that a win against them would carry even more weight than the Pittsburgh game.
I 100% agree. I think McCarthy knows this is the biggest game this might be the biggest game he has this year.
Yeah.
I think he knows. I think there's a lot going on here.
I was going to stop you there. I thought you were going to say of his Cowboys. I'm like,
well,
it'll be tough.
Don't report back with a 47-9 loss.
It'll be tough.
Then there's no reason you should keep your job.
Regardless of how this thing goes, it's going to be tough to say that the most memorable, biggest one is not the loss to the Packers. That would be tough to get past that one.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
That's the one that people will point to the most. You got a Garrett game like that? That like just sticks out? Any of you guys got game? One?
I feel Good like or I bad? I feel like I should, but I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't know that I do.
Good for me is definitely at Green Bay, at Pittsburgh in 2016, Dak's rookie year. Mm-hmm. Those were the 2 road games where I was like, oh, damn, this team might be for real.
Yeah.
The only other one I would even consider is maybe Seattle 2014. at Seattle early in the season, because that Seattle team was...
That was going to be the one that I was going to say for most memorable, just because that was...
Yeah, week 5, really good. Right? Yeah.
What's the biggest had to have it but lost it game?
Oh, man.
Maybe that Eagles game in Philly where Amari wasn't on the field late in the game.
Yeah, right. 2018. Didn't it feel like there's kind of a bunch of those?
2013, Kyle Orton against the Eagles.
It feels like there was kind of a bunch with Garrett, but maybe they're not jumping out because of time, but also just those 8 and 8 years.
Yep.
Had a lot of must-win games in December,
Right.
And also to be honest, for me, the biggest struggle that I'm having with that is I pin a lot of those more on Romo than I do on Garrett. Like there was that the game against the Redskins where Romo throws that interception in the flat, and I that, to me, that's fully on Romo. It's not really a Garrett thing. I remember that Jets game, the opener, where he throws the interception to Revis. There were some of those games, but Romo was so glaringly making the mistake at the end that it just a lot of those that he does kind of steal the spotlight for me a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, he had the chance. I mean, honestly, if it isn't for Rodgers' magic there, I mean, the number one would have been that playoff game in 2016, because that gets you the NFC Championship game, which obviously they hadn't been doing forever. So if there's some way they can make that play, or somehow Jeff Heath knocks the ball out or something like that there, they win that one. That's the biggest one.
Maybe you don't run up and spike the ball and leave time on the clock, maybe that one, which I would put on the coach there, though. So, you can find a lot of ways. Real quick, I do want to be clear with everyone. We are recording this on Wednesday night. So, a lot can happen injury-wise, and especially with the 49ers, who, Debo has pneumonia and fluid in his lungs. He did practice a little bit today, didn't do much. George Kittle, Jennings, last week Brock Purdy was 5 for 14 when all 3 of his wide receivers were out, because Jennings didn't play. Debo ended up playing a couple plays and then got out, and then Ayuk got hurt. And when it was Cowing and Pearsall and Chris Conley, Brock Purdy was 5 of 14 with 3 interceptions. So, we'll see how many of those guys get healthy and get ready to go. I feel like Kittle will probably play. I feel like he's questionable almost every week. Jennings,
he's got to wear his F Dallas shirt.
Yeah, right.
Jersey. Yeah.
So Kittle's in. Cowboys, Kittle's in. Sunday night, Kittle ain't missing that game. But Debo's the interesting one to me, because pneumonia and fluid in your lungs and a bye week next week. I mean, they may have reason to go, we don't need to play anyone.
Fluid in your lungs.
That's what it said.
Yeah. Getting handoffs. Running onto the perimeter against these defensive backs, even with fluid in his lungs, he might be fine.
This is not the danger of Jason Witten playing with the spleen, with a ruptured spleen.
With this particular defense, I would be terrified if having him fully healthy. I can just see what he would be doing in the open field. I'm not even talking catching passes. I'm just handing him the ball.
Yeah. More worried about maybe his unhinged teammates coming and pushing him after a touchdown celebration.
Well, then there's that.
Yeah. The only
in the head so much.
The only thing that I would say about the Brock Purdy stat line that you mentioned is I think it's different a little bit when Shanahan has the entire week to prepare, as opposed to being thrown into a situation where your game plan has Debo involved and Ayuk involved. This week, if Debo doesn't play, Shanahan's going to know that Debo's not playing, and Ayuk is obviously out for the season. So I think that's the only thing that I could see, changing Purdy's efficiency a little bit. But I mean, that's a lot of firepower that's gone on that offense for sure.
I knew Saad at some point would defend Purdy. He's actually got a Purdy jersey hanging up on his wall right behind him right now. He is a Purdy truther.
I am a Purdy truther.
I don't think they're going to sign him.
I'm kidding.
I think they're going to let him walk.
Really? No kidding. That's wild. Even after completely swinging and missing big time. I mean, totally gets looked over. I mean, especially with the trade. It's totally like people don't even talk about it. But after everything they did, thinking they had their guy with Trey Lance, do you think they're going to let Purdy walk? Okay.
Dude, they're just going to get Sam Darnold back. once he's disposed of in Minnesota.
Dude,
What,
but if
next
we're
week
being
when they
real,
get Stafford and then they
that's
send
what
him
I
back
was going to
home?
say.
That's an interesting rumor from a odd source. What's going on there with that?
The folks in the NFC North have enough on their plate. They do not need Matthew Stafford up there now, too.
What seriously? What do we think about this? Because it hasn't been rumored by anyone like.
Yeah, I know. But doesn't it piece
super
together
reputable.
perfectly?
It absolutely does.
Oh,
It makes 100% sense. It makes all the sense. And if I'm Minnesota, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Right now.
They're the Super
Let's
Bowl.
go.
They're the NFC Super Bowl favorites to me if they get that done.
Easily.
Absolutely. Not
The only
even
way,
close.
the only way I would go back and go Lions on this is if they'd have to make a huge move for like a Max Crosby or Myles Garrett. But without something like that, man, Stafford with Addison and Jordan Jefferson. Oh my God,
It's just
or
a
Justin
weird 'cause
Jefferson. Sorry.
I didn't know the account that was retweeted into my timeline from
Yeah,
Des Bryant.
I'm not familiar with that guy's work either.
But there was a bunch of followers, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
let's
it
do
makes sense too.
It makes so much sense. Let's do our picks. I am 3-3, and you just gotta prove it to me. Sorry, San Francisco 23, Dallas 17. Closer than maybe I thought in my heart, but 23-17 49ers. We will go to you, Kent. You were also 3-3.
Well, I don't know why we're talking about this because Cowboys aren't going to sniff a Super Bowl until they shut down these daggum tours at the Star. I mean,
Hey,
until
you
that
said
happens,
we didn't have time
what's
to
the
get to
point of
this.
even
Point.
talking about these games?
Good point.
I'm going 49ers 20, Cowboys 14.
Okay. We'll go to John. John, you're 3-3.
I will go Niners 27, Cowboys 17. Yeah. The bye week, I thought I'd go with a closer score. I was thinking about coming in at some like 24-21, but then the more I think about it,
Yeah.
they are the thorn in the Cowboys side. I'm going to go 27-17 49ers.
I'd say they're one of the thorns in the
Sure.
Cowboys side. Saad 4-2, your leader in the clubhouse. He picked the Lions last week. So this first game, not picking the Cowboys, still got the dub. Who you got, Saad?
So, real quick, do you know what the line is on this game by any chance?
It's 4.
I saw that it moved to
It's
4.5. Or
Oh.
yeah,
Okay. So,
The
yeah, I'm going to go.
49ers are favored by 4, just to be clear.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 49ers 24, Cowboys 20.
This guy's playing the odds. Interesting.
What do you think it is? What do you think it is if both teams are healthy?
If both teams
Oh.
are healthy, I would
Yeah, what do you
say
think the line would have
49ers.
been? No, the line.
Oh,
9.5.
2 points.
Seriously, 9.5.
yeah. 9, like, yeah. Maybe
No
maybe not
way.
9.5. Not 9.5, but 7.5.
Yeah. There's so many Cowboys fans and so many people that bet on the Cowboys. It's never a real. I never think of the Cowboys spread being real. I always give the Cowboys always get an extra point or two just because they have so many people that bet on them. So that's one reason I don't think it'd
Yeah.
be 9. But I do think it
fair.
would be about 7.
Yeah.
Really?
And if I was picking the game with Ayuk and Debo and McCaffrey
Right.
and going, I'd probably pick the 49ers 38-17.
Yeah. Honestly, might even go that with if you just told me that McCaffrey was healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
But
feel
it's gonna
good
be
about
fun,
it.
everybody. Tune in. And then
Yeah,
tune
no,
into the
always
show
tune in.
after. And we're
Tune
going to talk
in.
about how we were all wrong and how the Cowboys are 4-3 and everything's back on track. And that during the bye week, they came together with a 40-point plan and they've executed everything.
Yeah. We'll get Cooper Cup or something. I don't know. Figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll get aggressive. We'll YOLO. All in. Hanging on the rim, dude. We're going to be hanging on the rim after this game. Make sure that you check out our Discord server, the One Star Cowboys Podcast Discord server. Get those picks in by 7:19 p.m. on Sunday night. Okay, get your picks in. The score. Also, check out the Weekend Review podcast coming on probably Friday.
Yes, sir.
So make sure you get that. And give us a follow on Apple or on Spotify. Needing those hours on Spotify, guys. Needing those hours on Spotify. Give us a 5-star review if you would like. That's definitely helpful for us. And make sure you're checking out John and Saad's work throughout the week. For Kent Garrison, For John Machota, for Saad Youssef, I am Kevin Turner at KT Fun Tweets. We will talk to you next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast.
Their daddy's favorite game. And he wants him to lose by less than 5.5 points. Understand?
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, blue label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnnywalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.